Good morning, one and all, and welcome to our virtual leadership summit. My name is Randy Asher. I have the honor and privilege of serving at DIIT as the Deputy Chief Information Officer for School Planning, Modernization, and Partnerships. The team has worked tirelessly, and I want to thank them on behalf of all those in attendance for putting together this workshop and series to be able to provide educational leaders opportunities to explore new topics and further their own education on how to use appropriate tools in the classroom in the modern era. And there are several of those tools that we're going to explore today. There have been very specific points in recent memory and educational history where a new tool came out and fundamentally changed teaching and learning as a process. So whether it was the infusion of word processors from the typewriter and that evolution, or office plans like Microsoft or Google that gave you a suite of tools to do analysis and communications and be able to produce really professional looking documents, or the infusion of the graphic calculator was another catalytic moment that moved mathematics forward in ways to explore topics you couldn't do before. There are now a whole new set of tools, including the one everybody's really curious about, generative artificial intelligence, that will again fundamentally change some of what we do with teaching and learning. Some of it is about how we teach and plan and how we have to change the tasks we assign students and prepare them for use of these tools, both in secondary education, post-secondary, and their career fields. The challenge today is that these tools are evolving at a really rapid pace. So every time we learn how to use a little bit, it does something new tomorrow. And that's why these educational forums, summits, and professional learning, working with our DIIT team, is really instrumental to help you change your practice to leverage these tools to be as efficient and effective as possible. We have a lot of different things going on at DIIT. We're developing a lot of new applications and products, and we're doing a lot to work with schools and engage with school communities to get feedback from our client base and our users. We feel that at DIIT, we are a support part of the agency, and it's our fundamental role to help you overcome some of the obstacles you run into. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're always 100% successful or that we can always do it in the timeline that we'd like, but given the resources that we have, we do the best we can to help you. And the feedback we get from you, whether it's live, in person, via email, on the Facebook page, through feedback loops, working with your borough teams, that helps us prioritize where we put our resources and time and effort. So thank you. Please continue to communicate with us, work with your SPOC community, which we view as an extension of DIIT, to be able to get into the field and really know what's going on at the ground level. Today, I have the privilege of introducing our keynote speaker. Mark Erlenwein is the principal of Staten Island Technical High School. He's a longtime friend, colleague, and thought partner. Mark is a Kahn Fellow, a Gray Fellow, an amazing fellow. He's done so many things. He's one of the most innovative educators I've ever met. You know, if you ask anybody on his team, they will tell you Mark's a Jedi. He doesn't like to brag about it. He literally works the magic, and every day he furthers the education of not only his own students, but because he's a distinguished principal and likes to share best practices and is very open about what works and the challenges that he's faced in implementing some of these things. He really helps change education on a greater scale, not only through District 31 in Staten Island, but citywide and frankly statewide, as Mark was named State Principal of the Year very recently. Mark, you're amazing. I love the work you do. I like how you push kids and teachers to further their practice. And I'm going to turn over the forum to you because you're the one they're here to see. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Randy, for that kind introduction. It's always an honor and pleasure to get to work and collaborate with you and the DIIT team. I want to begin by also thanking Selena Zule, Jackie Patanio, and Allison Chiandra for putting together this incredible leadership summit this morning. And lastly, it is an honor to have the opportunity to share my perspective and practice around AI from a school leader's lens to demonstrate the power and possibilities of artificial intelligence in the world of education, and more notably in our role as education leaders. So to set the learning intention for today, this session will cover sampling some basic AI tools that will make your life easier as a school administrator. You'll also become acquainted with using ChatGPT and the growing number of ChatGPT prompt libraries. You'll develop strategies for effectively incorporating AI tools into productivity and leadership practices. And finally, I'll discuss considerations and future trends in AI in education and the impact on instruction and assessment. Now, what if I were to tell you that you have all been fooled? Or as our kids sometimes say, punked. AI is kind of like magic, right? What if I said this isn't actually me presenting right now? Well, it is me, but an AI avatar of me where everything you are watching was 100% digitally created from a typed script in slide editing software where I am a digital asset. Pretty cool, right? This is a relatively new AI tool from the company, Synthesia. Hey, Mark, you ready to actually get to work here? I know it's a virtual summit, but I'm ready to say my goodbyes. Enjoy the rest of our presentation and a happy holidays to all.
Good morning, everyone. This is really me. So I hope you didn't mind being punked there for a moment. My name is Mark Erlenwein, Principal of Staten Island Tech. Once again, Randy, thanks for that very, very kind introduction. I look up to you more than you'll ever know, and you've been such a great influence on me and my practice as a school leader. So thank you for having me today. So folks, we are here to kick off this incredible virtual tech summit that DIIT has put together for you. And I think Randy used the word magic. I tend to play around with magic on the side and try to infuse it in my day-to-day practice as a school leader. And we're here today to talk about and learn about AI. And very much, AI is very much like magic. And you're going to learn some really cool tools today that are going to transform the way you lead your schools, and your educators and the teachers in your building are going to pave the way for the new way we're going to engage kids. So I'm going to reshare my screen, and we're going to get started here with the first part of this presentation, which is solely designed to invigorate and to really challenge your thinking around what is possible in this world of AI. So let me just find here we go. Make sure the sound is there, and boom. All right. Let's refine here we go. Okay. And Jackie, if you can give me a thumbs up if you see that. All right. So now the first thing that just happened before is I used a technology called Synthesia. It's a company called Synthesia. They create virtual avatars. And all of you have created slide decks before in Google Slides or PowerPoint. And if you know how to do that, imagine being able to do that, but you yourself are a digital asset in the slide deck. Many of you have told me you're not into video editing. You don't know how to video edit. And that's fine. You don't have to be able to video edit. All you need to be able to do is create a slide deck, type a script. And as you can see on the screen here, that's all this was. I literally typed out my introduction and welcome and thank you this morning. I inserted myself as the avatar. And after having spent a minute and a half a week ago creating and teaching Synthesia what I look like, what I sound like, what my voice connected to my lips look like when they move and connect those thoughts, and what are my what are my facial expressions, my body movements when I talk, and then incorporating that into what exactly I'm saying. And what that basically does, it turns into the opportunity to create these really innovative, I guess you can call them deep fakes. But I'm going to show you in a moment a very innovative use of this technology for the betterment of what we're trying to do in our school community. Now, for the record, everything that I'm presenting today has been emailed to you already earlier this morning. The slide deck, the resources, some articles I've written on AI and education are all available to you now. So you don't have to worry about grabbing photos of the screen. Everything is here for you, ready to go and completely shareable. You'll notice also on the resources, there's a hyperlink under my picture. That's my contact information. You will be able to call me, text me directly if you have any questions. I wouldn't share it if I didn't want people to reach out and have a conversation. So feel free, don't be shy. I'm a pretty accessible guy, and I look forward to getting to know some of you more and more. So now AI, like I said, is kind of like magic. And it's this really unique thing because it's really become a utility tool, kind of like how duct tape used to be once upon a time. And duct tape, as you might know, duct tape could be used for so many different things. Duct tape could be used to make wallets. I asked a student the other day to make me a wallet out of duct tape. It could be used to make a purse. Yeah, you can make a purse out of duct tape. You could even use duct tape to remove some of that unwanted arm hair. It's not a squirrel. Relax. Really, really interesting how duct tape is continuing So duct tape has continued to evolve, but AI is quickly becoming that utility tool that can be used just about anything. And it's interesting because when I've presented this recently in the past couple of months, I get a lot of different emotions about AI. Some people feel as though their job and the days doing their job are numbered, and that soon we're going to be replaced by these machines and this software. And I guess the best piece of information I can have for you and advice is to don't be afraid. Because this dystopia versus this utopia that could be. If the prediction is that our jobs and a lot of what we do is going to be replaced by this AI, I always come from the standpoint of saying to stop the prediction from becoming a spoiler, we need to spoil and disrupt the prediction. And that's what we as New York City public school leaders are capable of doing and have done time and time again. So as I was saying, here's Synthesia, just to give you a quick showcase of the tool, because I'm going to be showing you lots of tools today that you can use to make AI magic happen in your school and practice. Synthesia gives you the ability to use other avatars, including your own. And like I said, it just creates a virtual version of yourself, which you can type the script and create presentations and videos. Now, why would you need to do that for yourself if you could just record yourself on a camera? Well, Staten Island Tech services 1,423 students. One of our predominant home languages spoken is various dialects of Chinese. So last night, I sent out my December update to my students, my families across the 4 or 5 boroughs of New York whom attend my school. And just take a quick look at the first 30 seconds of my video, and then I think you'll get to understand why maybe using a virtual avatar tool like Synthesia might be something you need in your life. Check this out.
Hello, Staten Island Techomaniacs. Welcome to one of the most festive times of the year at Staten Island Tech and my December update. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving and enjoyed the precious time with family and friends. 大家好，是丹顿岛基主光日们。欢迎来到西丹顿岛科技高中1年中最欢乐的时光之一，以及我的12月更新。希望大家度过了一个愉快的感恩节，并享受了与家人和朋友在一起的宝贵时光。As we enter the holiday season, I want to wish
All right, so did you hear it? Well, this past summer, I started doing this in preparation for the new school year, and I was sharing my welcome back messages to the families. And I quickly started getting these emails saying, Mr. Erlenwein, I'm so impressed that you learned Mandarin over the summer. I'm so impressed that you really honed your Russian skills. And I couldn't lie. I had to be very transparent. I didn't do neither of those things. But similar to what I just showed you, in the same way I can copy and paste English into the script on Synthesia, you can use ChatGPT to translate your message into multiple languages and insert them into the script. And Synthesia automatically knows or automagically knows how to convert that into the appropriate language. And then you automatically become this bilingual, trilingual, multilingual speaking school leader instantaneously. Now, I don't try to pretend that I can do this, and I'm very transparent with my families. I communicate that regularly, that I will be using this technology to be a better communicator. And the technology now, just so you know, I don't even have to translate that text. I can just hit a button now in Synthesia, and it automatically converts the text into every single humanly possible language that a person might want to hear my messaging in. So you don't even have to go through that extra step. Synthesia just automatically does it for you. So think about that. But let me give you another really heartwarming example of a use of this virtual modeling and why you might want to use it. Over the past 2 years, Staten Island Tech has been blessed with bringing on a District 75 annex into our building. PS 37, David Marcus School of the Arts, is a pre-K through 12 District 75 school on Staten Island. Over the past 2 years, we've been bringing the students in on certain days for adaptive phys ed and some makerspace activities. And then this past fall, we brought these 8 gentlemen in, incredible 16 through 20-year-old gentlemen, and they're here 5 days a week. And it's just been absolutely remarkable, full inclusion program. They're taking classes with our students, and the goal is to one day in the next year or so, or years, to create a pipeline for these students into the hotel, restaurant, and hospitality industry here on Staten Island. Hopefully the Hilton Garden Inn, we'll see. But one of the remarkable things about this is we created a coffee shop called Barks and Beaks. And Barks and Beaks Coffee Shop is open Wednesdays to Fridays. The 8 gentlemen and their faculty team run the coffee shop here at Staten Island Tech, and they serve coffee and snacks and treats to our teachers. And in a sense, that is a practice to build skills, social skills, functional skills, in an effort to create this pipeline into the workforce. Now, just take a quick look of what that actually looks like, and that'll explain how artificial intelligence has something to do with this. So as you saw there, it's a very social interactive experience where our 8 gentlemen are interacting with faculty and staff. And in a hospitality setting, such as a coffee shop, there are certain ways to introduce yourself, certain ways to take that order. Now, in an effort to support our neurodiverse students with the skills in order to fulfill those practices and those steps and those scenarios and those roles and procedures successfully, we were using modeling. Now, in the past, these students might have used videos of other people saying, "Good morning, welcome to Barks and Beaks. May I take your order?" But of course, we are working with students who are building these skills over time. Like we all do, we have gaps and bumps in the road and certain goals that need to be set so we can get better at doing the things that we're striving to do for certain benchmarks. But what if I told you these students could go home each night, and instead of watching a video of somebody else practicing these rote skills and these scenarios and these different things that you say in a coffee shop setting, what if they watched themselves? Well, that's exactly what we did. We used Synthesia to create virtual avatars of the boys, basically training Synthesia to learn what these students sound like, how they look when they sound, when they speak, and then creating scripts and scenarios that they can go home at night as part of their homework and practice listening to themselves and seeing themselves say these specific roles and scenarios. Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about.
In this video, Matt and I will show you how to take someone's order when working as a cashier.
This will be used as a training tool for our school-based coffee shop as well as other worksite opportunities. Welcome to Barks and Beaks. Can I please have a name for the order?
Miss Erica.
What can we get for you this morning?
1 cold brew coffee, please.
Would you like any milk?
Half and half.
Would you like a flavored syrup to go with your coffee?
I'll have vanilla.
Would you like any food added to your order?
I'll have a waffle as well.
Your total today will be $5. Please proceed to the counter for your order. Thanks for flying by. When speaking to a customer, I make sure I speak loud and clear, listen carefully, and I smile and sound excited and happy to be helping them. This will make our customers feel welcome and will improve our business.
So as you can see, we're using this brand new technology. Now, it wasn't intended to be used this way, but we're using to help our neurodiverse students build the social skills and that efficacy of being able to communicate effectively in these settings that one day there's going to be an expectation and a benchmark their future bosses are going to expect them to have to deliver. So we're exploring this. It's brand new, and we continue to create new ways in which to infuse this modeling. The boys have a whole series of different videos now that they can use Dr. Corey Regan is the principal of PS 37. She and her incredible staff, we've been working in concert together very closely to develop these protocols and very, very high-tech tools to provide everything that these students need to be their best selves. So we're really, really excited about that. And if you have any questions about how to do that, reach out. I'd be more than happy to share. So now we need to get a little bit acquainted now. So it's time for let's do a little test here, okay? So these are 5 headshots of me, and I'm gonna throw let's launch this, here we go, okay. So right now I'm launching a survey. My question for you is, which of these headshots are the real Mark? So I'm curious for you to kind of chime in there. And let's see, which of these do you think is the real me? I'm about to share. Okay, number 4 is really getting a lot of headway here. I'm going to change number 4 now. Update that. Ooh, pretty. So, yeah, number 4 is taking it so far. All right, so you all seem to think number 4, followed by number 5. Makes sense. All right, I'm going to end the poll because you all seem to have chimed in there very well. And the reality is none of them. None of them are the real me. These photos were actually created using Mayo Studio. And Mayo Studio basically is an AI photo app that can create headshots and all sorts of different types of photorealistic versions of yourself. And it's funny, earlier this May, when I turned 50, my wife posted this on social media to wish me a happy birthday. When I got home later that night, I was like, "Hun, that's not really me," which really, really surprised her because to fool my wife with this sort of technology is pretty tough, but it's that good. It's that good. It's that powerful. But I know what you're asking. It's like, why would I really need to use this type of software or technology on a day-to-day? Well, let me show you another heartwarming reason why you might want to have this in your life. Earlier this year in March, for Women's History Month, we honored my former living environment teacher here at Staten Island Tech, Debbie Griggs, honoring and naming a science lab after her. Now, Debbie did not like having photos taken of her when we were colleagues, so we didn't have a lot of photos of her to create a plaque and to memorialize her and give her flowers while she's still on planet Earth. So I took the 6 photos I did have of Debbie, the originals, and I trained Mayo Studio to create some composites that really were very close to the actual version of Debbie. Created the composite photo that you see here in the plaque, and that the true test was going to be, I sent it to a couple of Debbie and my friends, but not telling them who it was. And if they were able to identify that it was Debbie, then I knew that the technology did what it was supposed to do. And here's Debbie on recently at her 75th birthday party, which I was grateful to be invited to. But it was just nice to memorialize and capture the people's best selves through the years using this technology when no photos really existed. Now, in the vein of being creative, and I know later on today, you have an opportunity to learn more about how you can unlock the power of Canva, which now has its own AI incorporated and baked right into the service. So let me give you a little bit of a heads up as to, not to steal the thunder what you're going to see, but just to understand how much AI is going to make your life easier and easier. I'll give you a really pertinent example. You know, when you're making a presentation or a flyer and you need someone's headshot and you want to put the headshot in a circle, and then you drag it into the circle and you realize, oh, wow, there's not enough of the person in the picture to correctly put them in the circle. So Canva has a magic expand feature now where you can take the picture, expand the picture to the degree in which you want to add to the photo, and Canva and the AI will figure out and reproduce what should have been in the picture in the first place. And then you can just drag the picture into the circle, and then you get the perfect headshot that you were aiming to get in the first place. And you can see here, I'll blow it up really quickly in this little video I created for you guys just to show the difference. And you can even remove the background So there you go. So a little bit brighter. So that's all using AI technology, which is absolutely remarkable. Let me give you another example that you're going to learn a little bit about later. Here's a photo of a park. Now, I wish there was a little bit more to this photo. Matter of fact, I wish there was a lot more to this photo. AI and Canva can figure out what else could be in the rest of this photo. Let's do a before and an after there. See that? Before and after, and that AI, now there's some little bit of graffiti on one of those trees there, but for the most part, it's a pretty good job of anticipating what else could be in there. Now, I feel like adding some squirrels. So AI and Canva can also add magical elements into the photo. So I type in add squirrels. There are some squirrels. I can choose which squirrels look the best in this particular situation. And I pick these. That looks pretty good. And notice how well it does the shadowing. Now I want to add some kids on a bike. I could just color that in, type in children riding a bike, and automagically, there they are. And I have a couple of choices of ways in which I can incorporate these children. And now I have my final photo. So this is what it looked like before. And then adding the children, the chipmunks, and this artificial rest of the park. Pretty cool, right? So these tools are baked into a lot of the products you're starting to use. Now, as principal, you are the storyteller in chief, right? Whether we want to admit it or not, we set the tone and tell our school stories all the time. But a lot of you, and not all of us, are very apt at using our phones and creating these videos. Well, you don't have to be. There's a program, a website called Opus Pro. And in Opus Pro, what it does, it can take your videos on your phone, taken horizontally or vertically, and transform them into these very interactive, highly informative, I guess you can call them viral videos that your students will want to actually consume. Sometimes the way we create a video and the way it looks is the difference between anyone in our school communities wanting to listen to them. And I have to admit, a lot of the things I've showed you this morning, the synthesia being presented in our home language of our families, well, what I'm about to show you now has exponentially increased the amount of attention and the number of people actually consuming the messages I'm sending to them as the principal and school leader of our school. So Opus Pro, what it does pretty simply, it can take a video in long format and it automatically figures out what's being said in the video. So it creates a text transcription of it automatically. All you have to do is upload it. And it knows when certain people are speaking in the video. So it automatically knows when to focus on a person. So you see them as the focal element of that video. And it can add captions on the bottom in whatever language you want as the person speaking. Even better, through the software, you can tell it, you know what? In this video, when I talk about making stuff, show a picture or a video of a child making stuff. It's called automagic B-rolls. So imagine not having to know any video editing whatsoever, and you could take your simple video that you took in landscape mode, and it translates it into this viral form of video with captions and B-roll video and photos that you didn't even have to look up. And simply because, keep in mind here, what it's doing is taking your video, transcribing it into text in the background, and figuring out what it is you're saying and talking about so it can assist you. So here's a video I shot this summer about the potential ban on cell phones. And all I did was I hooked up a wireless microphone to all 4 students. And folks, a lot of you have said, I've heard you talk about wanting a podcast studio. You don't have to spend money on a podcast studio. You really don't. Really, all you need is your phone and 4 wireless microphones to have a generative conversation with more than 2 people, 4 people in total. So I recorded the 4 students sitting down with the lapel microphones connected from them to my phone wirelessly. And what it did was translate this into a viral video in a portrait format. Let's take a quick look at what that looks like.
I think it would definitely really be interesting to not be able to communicate with our phones, because
Audio is a little bit low. I think you'll get the picture here and see automatically it took that landscape view of those 4 students, put them in 4 corners of the screen, captioning everything the students are saying. It's throwing in automatic B-roll footage into the actual video to make it more interesting to see. And when I put this onto social media, it's something that kids want to see because it's in a format that they want to see. Just another example of a way in which you could become 21st century communicator instantly. All these programs do cost a little bit of money. Of course, there's ways that you can take care of that and get reimbursed. But it's been transformative in terms of the way I can communicate as a school leader, where in the past, this would have taken me about an hour to produce a video like this at home, which I am accustomed to doing. I know how to do, but now I don't have to waste any time doing it because it does it for me. So I want to throw out another really quick poll. I'm just curious today to see on this presentation this morning, what is your comfort level around AI literacy right now? So I'm just really curious, just chime in. How are you? And what's your comfort level and experience using AI tools? Okay. I appreciate all of you taking part in this and joining us. So good. So a small percentage in the mastery level. And I have to admit, I wouldn't consider myself a master of any of this. It's just so new and ever changing. Well, that's great. So proficient and approaching, that's kind of the sweet spot everybody kind of falls in. And I appreciate those 8 of you who are admittingly saying AI, huh? Yeah, it's scary, but it's exciting because where this is going to go next, and what I'm about to show you is really going to excite you because you're going to gain a lot of time back in your life. All right, let's continue to move on. And let me just move this over here. Great. Thank you for sharing that. So there are some easy tools, easy entry points that you can start to introduce into your school community. Because if you think some of you have no clue as to what this is and how this works, many of your teachers that you lead each day don't know as well. But what we don't know in the future can hinder us because the students know. The students know the power of this. And I think the first step that I've taken to try and make this a more accessible and a welcoming next step in our evolution as educators is to give the teachers something that can make their day-to-day life better. Start with the teachers. Give them tools that will actually give them time back and more productivity in the development of their lessons. And there's 3 easy tools I think are pretty popular that I want to really showcase pretty quickly. So Magic School, Khanmigo, and Khanmigo is an extension of Khan Academy, and OpenAI. So just for all transparency, Khan Academy and OpenAI, which creates ChatGPT, they have been teaming up for the past 2 years and taking ChatGPT, OpenAI, and infusing it in Khanmigo, which you're going to see in a moment. But a lot of teachers love Magic School because, like our cell phones, which has lots of buttons and makes sense on how to use, is very easy and accessible as an entry point. So let's watch a quick 2-minute video from the creator of Magic School. Same last name as Sal Khan from Khan Academy, but no relation. Check this out really quick.
Hi, my name is Adil Khan. I'm the founder of Magic School and a lifelong teacher and principal. I'm so excited to share Magic School with you today, which is the leading AI platform in education, with over 2 million educators discovering the magic of AI to assist them in their own work and bring responsible AI experiences to students. So let's jump into it. I'm going to start with one of my favorite tools, the rubric generator. So I'm going to click on the rubric generator tool. There's so many tools you can choose from, but in this case, we'll go with the rubric generator. And every tool is set up the same way. There are different fields that you'll fill in with the specifics of what you want. This is where you give your input. And in this case, I'm a 9th grade teacher. This is a 5-point scale for the rubric I want. The standard or objective is that students will be able to write an argumentative essay. And the assignment is about persuading a school board member to approve the building of a park in the neighborhood. I could add additional customization for the rubric, even more details on what I'd want, but I'm not going to today. I'm just going to click generate. And instantly, you'll see that rubric generate across the 5-point scale that we discussed. You can see that it's a pretty high quality rubric. But you know, as I review this rubric, I don't really need mechanics and conventions in this rubric, so I can continue the conversation, continue to modify this rubric. So I'll say, remove the mechanics and conventions from the rubric. And you'll see Magic School do just that. And now the rubric really suits my needs without that extra row. And I can copy it paste it wherever I'd like. I can export it to Google Docs, Microsoft Word, or print it directly from here, have it read aloud. But I have so many languages spoken in my classroom. I want to translate this rubric, and in this case, I'm going to click the translate button from Actions and translate it to Spanish, which is already selected, but you could select from many different languages. And I'll press the send button, and immediately you'll see that same rubric beautifully translated to Spanish. So now I'm ready to go with my 2 different versions of my rubric, and I could continue in this thread and ask for even more things. I have some suggestions here, but really, really powerful way to build a rubric really fast. Probably saved me a good amount of time by using Magic School to build that, which is really exciting. And like I mentioned, every tool on the educator side of the platform is set up just like this. You can build lesson plans, you can review student work, get first pass feedback, you can generate images, create
Unmuted. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, this is very teacher friendly. It is designed to be press button, you search for the things you're looking for. But what's really going on in the background, and I want you to understand this, the power of Magic School is only possible through the power of OpenAI. So what Magic School really is you click a button, it asks you the right questions. Now, you could have done all this for those of you who have played in the OpenAI ChatGPT universe. ChatGPT does the same thing, just Magic School is taking your information in Magic School. In the back end, unbeknownst to the user, it's going to ChatGPT and asking it the same question and then returning it back to the teacher in Magic School in a very palatable manner. Excuse me. Sorry, radio. So it's doing a lot of different things for the teacher without having to have the teacher work harder or have to learn the nuances of ChatGPT. What's really also great about this is your students can log into this and the teacher and the student can interact with one another. As you saw, it lays in very nicely to Google Classroom. So you get all the benefits of the single sign-on features that Google Classroom and the New York City public school systems offer us already. Using lots of different ways. And really, it kind of works as a thought partner for the teacher. You saw how quickly that rubric was generated and then turned into different languages. I recommend, if you haven't done this yet, just have a PD day, a 1-hour PD day. Tell everybody to bring their laptop and just give them a really good salient example that you know is important in your school using Magic School, and then let them play. Because in terms of building efficacy and trust in AI as a tool, the only way you're going to get there is by letting them play and get used to it and discover for themselves how it's going to save their time so they can work smarter versus harder. And that's what I always tell them. And I'm going to give you another really good example as to why and how that's important. Now, on the flip side of this, also, and once again, very similar in terms of format, Khan Academy called Khanmigo. So Khanmigo, and you'll notice it looks very similar to Magic School. Magic School definitely took a couple of pointers from Khan Academy in making their product. And of course, I want you to realize, as we're talking about these different things, these tools have gone through the IRMA process. So they are vetted through the New York City public school system and DIIT to ensure that they meet the needs and the requirements that are the expectation, the benchmark. Some of them are, some of them aren't. So you're going to hit some roadblocks along the way as you're exploring and want to infuse this into the larger New York City public school system. But taking a look here at Khan Academy, similar format. There's lots of buttons. You click on it, and it helps the teacher or the educator go through the process of creating something. Now, what's really cool about Khan Academy is that for many of your schools that are using this already, Khan Academy knows your students already, has lots of data on your students already, and will take the idea of individualizing and differentiating education to the true next level. And what do I mean by true next level? Well, let's take a really quick look and listen to Sal Khan himself. I love this little video because it really focuses on something that's very, very important and a large conversation topic right now in New York City public school system: literacy tools, reading and writing. Check this out. And this is all in Khan Amigo, Khan Academy.
But this is to directly use AI, use generative AI, to not undermine English and language arts, but to actually enhance it in ways that we couldn't have even conceived of even a year ago. This is reading comprehension. The students reading Steve Jobs' famous speech at Stanford. And then as they get to certain points, they can click on that little question, and the AI will then Socratically, almost like an oral exam, ask the student about things. And the AI can highlight parts of the passage. Why did the author use that word? What was their intent? Does it back up their argument? They can start to do stuff that, once again, we never had the capability to give everyone a tutor, everyone a writing coach to actually dig into reading at this level. And you could go on the other side of it. We have a whole workflows that helps them write, helps them be a writing coach, draw an outline. But once a student actually constructs a draft, and this is where they're constructing a draft, they can ask for feedback, once again, as you would expect from a good writing coach. In this case, the student will say, let's say, does my evidence support my claim? And then the AI not only is able to give feedback, but it's able to highlight certain parts of the passage and says, on this passage, this doesn't quite support your claim, but once again, Socratically says, can you tell us why? So it's pulling the student, it's making them a better writer, giving them far more feedback than they've ever been able to actually get before. And we think this is going to...
So at Staten Island Tech, in our 9th grade writing intensive class, we're using tools like this to truly differentiate the learning process in an ELA classroom where there are 34, soon to be 25, with class size reduction, students who need the attention of our teacher. And just to think about the ability that this technology has to help students individually, and then report back to the teacher as to how students progressed in a setting that, due to technology, is truly differentiated instructionally. So now many of you are principals of elementary schools, and I've heard often time and time again, well, what AI tools are out there that could help me with the challenges I have in providing intervention services or math and ELA coaching, especially around literacy. So at the recent CSA conference, I met a gentleman, Tim Novikov, the CEO and creator of Super Teacher, which is kind of like a private tutor for every student, and it's elementary school driven.
Michelle, can you read this sentence?
The chair is blue.
So close. Let's try it together. The chairs are blue.
Chairs.
Your turn.
The chairs are blue.
Michelle, that was great reading. Perfect.
That's funny.
2, stop dancing and get back here. Lily, where is the 2 supposed to go?
Under the 5 and the 7.
What was so funny?
The 2 was dancing on the side of the 1's column. I was like this.
So as you can see, this is kind of like a one-stop shop for all different types of math and ELA and literacy activities, completely 100% fueled by AI, voice modeling, the ability for the student to diversify the AI tutor that's working with them is baked into the system. So as I'm coming across, not that I'm endorsing one or very specific types of products, as I see things that excite me, that I know educators and we as school leaders are looking for, I like to share. So this really recently blew me away in terms of the potential for differentiating instruction in a classroom setting with the student using a really, really viable tool created by a really, really elite educator. So moving on. AI platforms. Let's talk a little bit now about getting into the nuance of AI, because AI is showing up and you're hearing lots of different things about things such as Copilot, which is in the Copilot in the Microsoft universe, ChatGPT, OpenAI, which is its own platform altogether, Gemini, which is baked into the actual Google universe itself. All the Google products that you use have Gemini built into them. IBM Watson is its own product altogether, which started over 70 years ago thinking about and working on AI. Claude is another platform that a lot of folks are using out there, and they all have their kind of sweet spot of a tool or something specific that they do. And in the end of the day, what we're talking about here is a GPT, a generative pre-trained transformer, that's using basically large language models, which in the past 2 years were just very text-based, to now using large multimodal models, which is AI that's able to handle other input and modalities such as images, audio, and video, as well as text. So imagine the computer now, AI, is able to process anything from audio to an image to a video to text and understand what it is that represents. And then when you give it a command to do something, it understands what it is that you want to do with it. For example, in March of this year, ChatGPT 4.0 came out, 4.0, which was, they consider now the flagship model. AI, ChatGPT has the ability to reason across audio, vision, and text in real time. Let's check out this really brief demonstration.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there, it's going great. How about you? I see you're rocking an OpenAI hoodie. Nice choice. What's up with that ceiling though? Are you in a cool industry-style office or something?
Well, can you take a guess at what I might be doing based on what I'm showing you here?
From what I can see, it looks like you're in some kind of recording or production setup. With those lights, tripods, and possibly a mic, it seems like you might be gearing up to shoot a video or maybe even a live stream.
Yeah. In fact, we've got a new announcement to make.
That's exciting. Announcements are always a big deal. Judging by the setup, it looks like it's going to be quite the professional production. Is this announcement related to OpenAI, perhaps?
It is. And in fact, what if I were to say that you're related to the announcement?
So as you can see there, the ability for ChatGPT on the phone using a camera, it understands what it's seeing. It's very conversational. It's very humorous. You can tweak all that to have different types of voices. You can tell it when you want it to be humorous. You can tell it when you want it to be sarcastic, if you want it to be stern and serious. So the interactivity and the customability of the technology is pretty remarkable. But from an education standpoint, where might that play a role in what we do? Well, check this out. Using the phone version of it, and keeping in mind, AI, ChatGPT, is capable of understanding what it's seeing, whether you're using a phone, a tablet, a computer. So it's not just limited to the camera. If I'm showing or asking ChatGPT, look at the problem on my screen. It's a geometry problem. Help me out with it. Check out this particular example involving linear algebra.
So, ChatGPT, what equation did I write down there?
Ah, I see it now. You wrote down 3x plus 1 equals 4.
Yep, exactly. So what's the first step I should take to try to solve this?
The first step is to get all the terms with x on one side and the constants on the other side. So what do you think we should do with that plus 1?
Okay, I'm going to try to subtract 1 from both sides, and then I'll see what I get.
Great idea. Perfect. Now, what do you get when you subtract 1 from both sides?
Okay, so ChatGPT, this is what I ended up with. How does this look?
Spot on. Now you've isolated the term with x on one.
So as you can see, not only is it helping this particular person with the problem, it's not giving them the answers. And what you didn't see there is the person told ChatGPT to help me with this problem, coach me, don't give away the answer, and really act kind of like a tutor. So pretty remarkable that it's capable of doing that, and on any medium, whether it be a phone or a computer or tablet or such. Now, here's an interesting utilization. We've all spent a lot of money on Pocket Talks. I think it's about $200 for that two-way translator. Well, you're now going to be able just to use your phone and do real two-way translation. As you know, with the Pocket Talk device, you have to hit a button, talk into it, hit the other language button, hand it to the person after they've listened to you. It's better, but it's still kind of clunky. But check out this example using ChatGPT's real two-way translation feature.
I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Mark, io mi chiedo se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask, how do we solve linear equations?
Potrebbero chiederci come risolviamo le equazioni. lineari.
Sicuramente sì.
Certainly, yes.
I would like you to function as a translator. I would like you.
So as you can see there, see how fluid that interaction was, didn't have to hit any buttons. Can you imagine what your future parent meetings could be like? Not having to go back and forth with a translator on the phone and just having such a very fluid conversation. Now imagine ChatGPT being used as an SEL self-care tool for a student who's panicking and needs to do breathing exercises. Check this out.
Hey, so I'm on stage right now. I'm doing a live demo, and frankly, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. Can you help me calm my nerves a little bit?
Oh, you're doing a live demo right now? That's awesome. Just take a deep breath. And remember, you're the expert here.
I like that suggestion. Let me try a couple deep breaths. Can you give me feedback on my breaths? Okay, here I go.
Whoa, slow a bit there. Mark, you're not a vacuum cleaner. Breathe in for a count of 4.
Okay, let me try again. So I'm gonna breathe in deeply, and then breathe out.
For 4, and then exhale slowly.
Okay, I'll try again. Breathing in, and breathe out.
That's it. How do you feel?
I feel a lot better. Thank you so much.
So not that as a replacement for what we would normally do to coach a child, but this shows some demonstrations and examples of real world application in the moment when we all can't be there to help our children. So just really curious, how we doing so far? Are we a thumbs up about this? Are we thumbs down? Are we thumb adjacent? Just want to get some sense of how we're feeling. Great. And I hope I'm not scaring some of you too much with some of what we can do, but we're about to go into a very, very, I think, intriguing segment and final part of this session where I'm going to save and steal back 70% of your time. All right, let's jump into ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is what I like to think of as the everything calculator. You can sign up on the website. It is free for the most part, but when you pay, you get to play with more tools and it has more functionality. Now, ChatGPT is text-based, and you can hit a microphone button in the paid version and tell it what you want it to do for you. But really what it comes down to, ChatGPT's power is simply based upon your ability to provide a detailed and well-developed prompt. So you have to be able to tell it what exactly you want it to do. And AI for Education has this really, really great prompt library that you can choose from. And in interest of time, I'm going to speed ahead to the one that I think makes the most sense for us to finish with, because all of us here have to do observation reports. So imagine going into ChatGPT and you have to do an observation report. And in the slide deck, which you have access to, this is the actual prompt that I give it. I'm an expert as school administrator. I wanted to use the Danielson framework to rate these 5 different areas, the 5 different competencies. I want the numbers and ratings for each of the competencies and overall recommendations and follow-up resources. So now, by taking that information, I literally upload the low inference notes that I took during the observation, the lesson plan, and the lesson resources, and I upload them into ChatGPT with that prompt. And what it gives me back is all the components with commendations, recommendations, student evidence. And I know that this information is accurate because ChatGPT, as you can see where I highlighted, tells me where it got this information from. So keeping in mind that it's creating this draft of a rating based upon my low inference notes that I wrote. And that could be in any format. It could have been handwritten. It could have been typed. It doesn't have to be annotated by component 1A or 3C. It knows. ChatGPT knows because you said Danielson what elements to look for based upon the rubric. So as it's giving you this information, where it comes to student evidence, how do I know that student evidence? Well, I provided that student evidence in the low inference notes, as you can see before. So that's kind of a way of getting a sense of validating where the information is coming from. So as you can see here, it rated all the components, and I've seen ratings come back as a 2 or 3. Not everything is a 4. And I wanted a little bit more longer narrative for my overall recommendation. So I just tell ChatGPT, okay, that was great, but please provide a longer narrative for the overall recommendations. And it does that. And it gives me even more information to kind of choose from, once again, as a first draft. But, you know, my teachers and your teachers know your voice and your tone of voice. So I need what I just created to be generated in my tone of voice. So this is how you apply your style of writing and voice to the ChatGPT generated results. And all you have to do is you upload a previous observation report, update, and then I tell it, update the feedback in my style of writing and language using a previous observation that I am uploading from a previous observation report. And you know, we don't have the time to compare the two right now, but as you can see, my original versus the after my style applied version, the one on the right is very, very much how I sound. It's my style of writing, and it's literally taken the entire draft of the observation report we just created and putting it in my style of voice and my tone of voice and my choice of words that my teachers are used to receiving feedback from me. I'm very transparent about this to my teachers because I want them to use tools in their classroom setting that's going to make them work smarter, not harder. So I tell them I'm using ChatGPT to help with the observation reports so I can get them to you quicker. But it's a draft. You know, it's not the observation report, but it's a really, really good draft. So to kind of bring us to home today, I'm just curious, what are your thoughts about this particular workflow? Do you consider this, do you feel like this is collusion? Do you feel like this is, I'm having trouble launching this.
Like 1 minute left, we're over time.
Okay. So I know this might feel like collusion, it might feel like plagiarism, but I urge you that this is very much a draft. This is part of a new process that we're all going to get into the habit of starting to use. So folks, there's a couple more items here, but what I want to really kind of leave you with is everything that I've talked about today is available in the slide deck. I sent you all this document already, which has the slide deck, some really great resources, my website, which I talk about this stuff a lot. My contact information is here on that QR code under my face. So you can always reach out to me with any questions. And it's just been really great to spend some time with you. Any of you want to chat about how you handle authenticity of student work, do a lot of work around that in terms of trying to create efficacy and trust in our school and our classrooms using AI. And all I can say is just thank you. This has been a pleasure to spend some time with you here this morning to launch the summit.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning out of your busy